my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaten Path, and this is your Must Know Monday for Monday, February the 26th. So back in the fall last year, I did several videos on suede cord. I did the multi-strand suede bracelet, the knotted suede pearl necklace, and then the multi-strand suede necklace. And in all of those, I showed you different ways to finish off micro suede. Well, then right at Christmas, I did a video on a wire pendant and earrings, and I put the pendant on a suede necklace and did not show how to finish the ends because I had already showed several different ways. Well, you would not believe the amount of questions I got. How did you finish the ends? What did you do? So I decided to devote a whole video on the different ways that you can finish off leather cording and micro suede cording. There are lots of findings out there. They make cord ends with loops, they make fold over crimp ends, they make cord coils, they make leather crimps. So I basically wanted to just kind of chime in and show you these different ways that you can finish off so that you will know all of the ways to finish it off. So today, basically, I'm gonna have to show you at each point and kind of tell you what material that I'm using because I am gonna be showing you so much. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, we have all the different little findings laid out here that you can use. The first finding that I want to show you is called a crimp end tube with a loop. So you see you have your loop, and then you have a piece of metal, a cut, a piece of metal, a cut, and then a piece of metal. These crimps come in different diameters. This specific one I'm going to be using today is with a 2mm leather. So you slide the leather up inside of there, and you want, when you look down, you want to be able to see the leather, but when you look straight on it like this, you don't want to see it. So there are several different ways you can finish it off. You can actually use your crimp pliers and crimp that, or one of the easier ways is to just use your flat nose pliers, grab a hold right, I'm going to try to see where you can see it here. There we go. Grab a hold right in between those cuts and then press. And what that does is that presses that flat and so that's secure. And at that point, you just take a jump ring and attach your clasp onto something such as this. It's very, very easy to use. Now these are more expensive, so some people don't like to use them just for that purpose. The next one that I would like to show you is called a fold over crimp. This comes in, again, a variety of sizes, but this one is actually a circle like this, a circle piece of metal with a loop at the top. I'm going to be using this 2mm leather again, and I'm going to slide it right inside of this compartment. Now, I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and I'm going to grab a hold of one side and I'm going to press it down. Okay, you can see right here how I press that down. And then I'm going to grab a hold of the other side and I'm going to press that down. I want this pressed flat, and you want to pull on it and make sure it's not going to come out. And once you have that done, then again, you would take a jump ring and attach your clasp right to that loop. I'm going to skip over this one for now because I want to show you this one. This one here is called a cord coil. Now these can be used two different ways. Number one, you can use E6000 glue and you can actually glue these ends into place. Another way is if you look here, your cord coil has a little piece of coil left here at the very end. You can take your cording, and again, I'm using this 2mm leather. You want to put it all the way up inside of it to where you see it, but when you look straight on it like this, you don't want to see any leftover there. Now, these are a little bit trickier to use, but they do make nice endings because what you're going to do is you're going to grab a hold of that little coil and you're going to press that coil in, just this last little coil. so that when you finish it, you can pull it. It's not going to come out, and your end looks nice and finished. Okay, so there's another end that you could use, and again, this is called a cord coil. So I'm going to set those there. Alrighty. Another one that I would like to show you, and this is how you can also finish off any of these findings. You can also use with your micro suede cording. Now, this finding is great. It's just like this fold over crimp here, except for it's a bigger version of it. So for this one, I'm basically going to take some different colors of my micro suede, and I'm just going to take 2 to 3 pieces. It's completely up to you. 2 pieces will fit in here really good. This is the 1.5 millimeter micro suede cord, and I'm gonna lay these pieces down in it just like this. And you can see for this, we can let this overlap because we can trim this off. But we're gonna do it in the same manner that we did this one. You can take and grab a hold of one side and press it down, and then grab a hold of the other side and press it down. These are a little bit larger, so they're a little bit harder to use. So you want to just, there we go. There we go. So you can see that now they fold over and look just like this. So now I can take my nippers and I can nip these short cords off so that I don't have to worry about those little cords being there. And you can just get that little pink one's being ornery. Let me get it there. And then that way you don't necessarily have to worry about it. But you can see that the way that I have this one folded, because I've used the perfect size for this, there's no overlap. If you make something that's a little bit smaller, it's gonna have an overlap, something more of like this. So it just kind of depends on what you're gonna do here with this. So that shows you that one. Another way how we finish off, and I think I've showed you this before, is with the wire, where you just take and thread your finding onto your cord, and I'm using a 1.5 millimeter cord here. I might have to take, yeah, let me nip the little end here. There we go. Okay. And this is where we basically are just going to take and fold over the cord. And then its purpose is to sort of look like this coil end here. You're going to take the wire and you are going to hold it very tightly. And you are going to wrap the wire just like this. Then I'm going to take the other piece, the other little end that I have here, and I'm going to wrap it a couple of times, nice and tight, so that you can see it sort of has that same look as our coil without actually having a finding. We'll trim these 2 pieces of wire, and once you have those trimmed, you'll just take your flat nose pliers and grab a hold and press those little ends in to hold your cording. Then it's just a notion of cutting off your little excess piece if you have any, and then you have the end of that. So as you can see, there are lots of options here on how to finish off your leathers and your micro suedes. But I do want to show you one more, and this is a newer one that we've got in our store. This is called a leather crimp. So let me kind of clean off some of this and I'll show you how to use this one. Your leather crimps like this are made to make working with larger leather very easy. And the one thing that I've kind of found works really nicely is if you put your finding on a jump ring, this tends to help a little bit because sometimes your findings aren't actually big enough to go on your cording. But basically, these are really easy to use. This one has a 3mm inside diameter. I'm using a 2mm cord, and basically you would put your cord, you've got your cord, you would put your finding on and then run it back down through your leather or your crimp, just like you would be doing it if you had a crimp on beading wire. You bring it up to what you need to bring it up to, and then you can either use like the really big crimp pliers to crimp this, or you just use your flat nose pliers. You grab a hold of it and you flatten out that crimp just like this. Then it's just a matter of trimming off your little excess piece of cording. So I wanted to show you the one main difference I would say when you're working with these leather crimps is you have to be careful, because you can see here when I lay my bracelet out straight that I have a little bit of an excess left between the last crimp and the bead. And that's because when you actually fold this and you put it onto your wrist, this needs a way to be able to curve nicely. So when I finish off with these leather crimps, I make sure to go ahead and actually clasp the bracelet to make sure I'm gonna have that room. So this is just a really simple one that I've done here using the leather crimps and some large hole gemstones. Let me see here. This is the very first one I experimented with, and this one is where I put the findings straight onto the leather. And the only problem that I had, they fit on there, but they're a very tight fit. You can see there's no movement there. And then it was hard for me to be able to get that crimp actually on when you were actually putting it on your wrist. So then I kind of played around with it some more, and I actually used the crimps as spacers in these, and we got these cute, super cute little smaller aromatherapy charms. So you can see I've actually put that on here. So I put the spacer or my crimp, the little aromatherapy jar, and then the leather crimp here. So that way it kind of finishes off a little nicer. You know, last week we did all leather today, and then last week I showed you how to use or how to know how to use the different sizes of stretch cord. So this same bracelet that I made with the leather, I wanted to show you, I also made it with a 1mm stretch cord. Now with the stretch cord, I did the same thing. I took and I just added one little charm, and it's great because it pops right on your wrist, and you don't have to worry about it. So, you know, if you're like me and you mess with your hair a lot, or, you know, just whatever, you've got that little whiff of aromatherapy if you can't necessarily wear your necklace or something like that. Now, I did want to show you this little owl, which I think is so cute. One of my employees, her mom died a few weeks ago, and she went out to be with her sisters, and one of her sisters had on aromatherapy earrings. So every time you moved your head, you got that little whiff of the aromatherapy. So I actually used the little owl. I took his bell off. There we go. I took the little top bell off and just added a little ear hook, and oh my goodness, if he isn't the cutest little earring. So we do have all of the findings that I showed you today, as well as the aromatherapy boxes. And we also, something new is we have an assortment bag of 40 large hole gemstones on the website. We also have all the different sizes of leather and the micro suedes that I used in today's video. So I hope this video was able to show you all the different ways that you can finish off your leather and your micro suede cording. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.